Welcome to the Johnny Dell Football Academy podcast on the channel that's trying to answer the whys and hows of the game by talking through and dissecting game film and diving deeper to explain why the X's zig and the O's zag. I am Adam Marino, joined by Mr. Johnny Dell, and we are reminding you, as always, the most fun way to watch is on YouTube, where we go live. There you can comment into the live show. Be sure to hit the notification bell and turn on your notifications so you can be a part of the conversation. We also stream live on Facebook and X. Also, the audio versions are always found on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Now, if you are live with us in the chat, it's probably because you are subscribed, you've hit the notification bell, and turned those notifications on. So, when sharing with your friends, be sure to let them know. We also love to hear from you outside of our live show. Email us at jonnydelsfootballacademy@gmail.com, and you can always check out the website jfa49.com, as it is the most fun way to support the channel. Also, the way we boost the chat and boost the algorithm is to type out hashtag JD49. Welcome into the Johnny Dell Football Academy podcast on the channel that's answering the whys and hows of the Senior Bowl. And we do that by having Johnny go to the Senior Bowl. So you like that? Little thought that up about right quick, right up here.
I mean, look at you. Look at you. Sharp as a marble.
Man, you said it. So, Johnny, how did today go? I'm excited to hear about just some of the new players, or I really want to know some of the conversations you were able to have. That, to me, would be the most exciting thing about, these couple days here. What do you got?
Today honestly didn't get any ability to get down there and talk to some players. A lot of players I think were pretty mediated out by today, with the 2 days after practice, and then the media day is an hour and a half where these guys are in a room with podcasters and everybody, and not only that, there's some media guys who go and because the hotel is literally right across from the convention center. It's a sky bridge that connects them. So there's guys who go down there every day and stalk the halls. No joke. Talk to one guy who they literally he'll ride the elevator up and down the hotel around the times he knows that the players are going to be coming in and out of their meetings and stuff, just to try and bump into him so he can interview and talk. They're being hounded by a lot of people. So a lot of them are not interested in really talking. Plus, around this time, there's people that are trying to claw over each other to go talk to certain guys. So there'll be 10 minutes left in the practice and guys are already lining up to get out on the field. And it's only a 10-minute period. So it can take you 6 minutes to get out on the field. You have 4 minutes to try and scurry and find somebody who doesn't have 3 people in line waiting to ask them questions. And some of these questions people ask are just ridiculous. Okay. They'll be like, so what's your favorite movie? And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So anyways, I was able to talk with Jake Slaughter, and I was asking him questions about their game against Georgia and their scheme. That's what I try and ask. I talked informally with more guys than anything, because I also it's hard when you're with the phone, and I'm like, I just want to talk to some people. So, I told people on here yesterday, I think last night, about, I had a great conversation with Sam Rush. I think he's going to be a phenomenal tight end. I think his draft stock is soaring. Right now, people are talking about him as a day 3 pick. I don't think he's going to last to day 3. I really don't. I think he's going to be a day 2 pick. He's going to be, if he's there at the end of the 3rd round, I will be shocked. So, I think his draft stock has started to fly up the charts. I think it's going to go up even more after the combine. But this Senior Bowl, his draft stock, I think, has climbed. And somebody there's a lot of it's kind of like when people say, Brock Purdy's athleticism is really underrated. People don't really talk about what he can do with his legs a whole lot. Well, when 90% of people talking about him talk about how his legs aren't talked about a whole lot, it actually is that they are talked about a lot. It's not actually underrated. It's just not one of those things that he's not put in a category with certain people.
Yeah.
And I start feeling like that with Sam Rush, is that there's a lot of people talking about how he's flying under the radar. And so when you see that there's a lot of people talking about how somebody's flying under the radar, they're not actually flying under the radar.
Right. All of a sudden, yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, this is what it starts feeling like with Sam Rush, and I feel like he has been dramatically increasing his draft stock. I will say tonight he had one of the best blocks I've seen all week. They were doing red zone period. It was a move the ball in the red zone, so they'd start at the 15 and try and get it into the end zone, and they were on I think the 3 or 4, and he came in and he was blocking Contavious. Oh, I had written him down for something else. Pause for the cause. There's so many names here. I gotta make sure I get everybody right.
Dude,
here.
I bet.
Quintavious Hutchins from Boston College. Quintavious Hutchins was across from defensive end, who had a pretty strong Senior Bowl actually, and Sam got up on him one-on-one in blocking. It was a duo run right up the middle, and he drove Hutchins at least 2 yards into the end zone. They ran right behind him, powered it in for the touchdown in what would be a touchdown. And Sam's came out of there flexing. He was all over it. The offensive line is coming over, and so everybody knows it's him. And Hutchins is over there getting chippy. He's staying on the field. He's mad about losing the rep. So yeah, I mean, it was definitely like he's got the tenacity to be a blocker, and he has the skills to be a receiving tight end. Like the route running, the catch point was all there. It's been there in the drills. He's showing that he can be a receiver and a quality receiver at the next level. I'm really getting some really good, like people are calling him Charlie Warner 2.0 is what I saw somebody say. I will say that feels like even a little bit of a slight right now. I may just be, getting high on my own supply here. Of You've
done that before, Johnny.
We have, but this is not like I'm really pulling for Cam Law too because he goes to Alabama, and I want the Alabama kids to succeed. Like this is he's come out of nowhere, somebody that I had no idea about coming into the Senior Bowl, and getting to talk to him, seeing him face to face, and standing across from him. He is built like a premier tight end. And I could not say that about Cam Law too. He is got incredible blocking skills. And I mean, that is what he did at Stanford. They didn't have a passing game. And so like he's just had another strong day, building on a strong week. I think he's going to stay for the game. Watch him out there. He's 80. He'll be 86 on their, they may change numbers before the Senior Bowl, but that's what he had as his number in college. So I believe he's probably going to want to be 86 out there. Watch the game. Watch for 86 Sam Rush. He's going to be he's a kid that I'm really excited about.
Okay, so what about other position players that you are hopeful the Niners take a look at?
There's a lot, man. There is a lot.
I got time.
Like, I mean, well, it's just like I have copious amounts of notes. I have taken more notes this year than any other year, mainly because I decided this year I wasn't going to try and record clips. Like I wasn't going to sit there and try and record clips to post later, because I generally don't end up posting them because a lot of them end up being useless. And they're going to give us more access with stuff this year. And through the media portal. It should be by next week. I should have the entire practice film from the coaches' film cameras.
Nice.
Of all of the drills, all of the stuff. So we'll be going through all of that when it comes around. So I wasn't focused on that. I was just focused on taking notes and logging everything. And there's just so many players that I've made notes on. I did blue the first day, red the second day, black the third day, so I would understand what was when. I will say there's a corner out of Duke, Chandler Rivers. I made a note about him the first day that because he was showing incredible makeup speed when he lost a rep, that he had the great speed to make it up. Now that's a note, the same note I made on Quinyon Mitchell years ago here at the Senior Bowl, because he didn't necessarily win every rep. He would get beat, but his makeup speed was ridiculous. And what happened when we played him? His makeup speed was ridiculous, and he had 2 interceptions. But he has turned out to be a phenomenal player. I will say Chandler Rivers is, I mean, he's somebody that he's got a big frame. feisty. He had a lot of wins. I wrote something down here. Big close? I don't know. I'm not sure what note I wrote there, but I noted him several times for how he was playing. Thaddeus Dixon plays super smooth out of North Carolina corner. Really liked him. He was real. The corners were real strong today. They had a big. That's where it's interesting is the wide receivers were doing much better yesterday, and then after those guys, showed a lot of their moves to these guys, then the corners came back today and had a much stronger day. And so that's what's fascinating of watching this is, well, now the corners are adjusting to what these receivers have thrown at them. So some of these shake and bakes aren't working as easily. And so some of them were doing really good. Some safeties showed up really well. One guy that I've made notes on every single day is VJ Payne out of Kansas State, safety. Physical, fast, aggressive safety who plays with a lot of burst. So really like that kid. Deshaun Singleton from Nebraska is man, he's a coverage guy. He's got range and can really cover a lot of ground. He's very much a free safety type. Really something there. Linebacker who I just fell in love with the last 2 days. It's one of those of like, I'm not sure what the Niners will do at linebacker. They tend to want to pick one every year. And last year we saw we needed a lot of linebackers throughout the year. So I don't know. Was Kyle Lewis from Pittsburgh. I think he may have climbed out of that linebacker picking range that the 49ers have. But this kid was phenomenal here today. He was really good yesterday, had some real awesome pops in the run game, violent, physical, tough fits coming through where you knew it was going to be a tackle for loss. And then today, though, was just showing out in the coverage. He had a pick six on a running back in one-on-one drills, and those are not meant for linebackers to win. Like that's one of the hardest reps for a linebacker to win. You expect most of those linebackers to lose almost every rep. Fred Warner was talking about that recently when he was on the Amon-Ra St. Brown podcast, where he was like when Christian McCaffrey came over, and he was like, yeah, he's like, we're running these one-on-one drills, and he's like, Christian, he's like, that's a drill. Linebackers, we're not supposed to win those. Like the running backs, they have a three-way go on us, and it's like you don't know which way they're going in any way. It's not set up for a play. Like we're not supposed to win. It's just really it's just challenging us and all this stuff. And he's like, and so Christian came through there and he gave me his little shake and bake, and I knew he was going to do an out route, and I beat him, and I deflected the pass. He's like, Christian was so mad that he lost because in all of his years at Carolina, he'd never lost a rep of that. And going back to like when he was doing the college stuff, he hadn't lost a rep of that. And it was the first time he'd ever lost one. And he was like, what the heck just happened? Because linebackers are not supposed to win that drill.
Yeah.
Kyle Lewis got a pick six on that drill, and he nearly had a second one on running backs. Had several passes that he batted down. Kid was all over the field today, just blowing it up. He's going to be on a lot. I think every single team is going to really look at Kyle Lewis, linebacker out of Pittsburgh.
Now you're just going to get us disappointed when these guys don't come to us.
Like I did last year.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I will say tight end out of Texas A&M, Nate Borkesher continues to play really well. This is a good tight end class. I will say it's a tight end class that I look at and I go, there's a lot of kids who are going to be good players out of this tight end class. I think we're going to look back on it and say, man, there was opportunities there. I have my crush, which is I've already talked about him, Sam Rush, but there's going to be a lot of other guys. I will say a guy that looks interesting to me, running back from Virginia, Jamari Taylor as a route runner. He's really smooth and really slick as a route runner. So that's somebody to keep an eye on. I feel like I'm a little scattershot on these though. Like I feel like I'm just bouncing around as I'm going through my list of like running back, safety, linebacker, tight end, and so. What are some areas that you can maybe focus me in on here, Adam?
Okay. So what about some more running backs? Can you go to your sheet?
Running backs. Yeah, let's run that. And then we'll get to the Jake. So Jake, this is it was actually no, he's talking about Sam Rush. So because Larry's really high on Sam Rush as well, and he quoted my post earlier, where I talked about how because I think Larry posted something or somebody, and I had posted something about Sam Rush, and I summarized the conversation I had with him. No. It was I'd gone on a show earlier today with Stats, and I talked about Sam Rush, and I talked about the conversation I had with him, like I did here. And they clipped that a minute of that conversation and posted it, and Larry reposted that about
Okay,
about
I
what it
missed that.
has.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, and so I'm assuming Larry then on the show talked about that. He's talking about Sam Rush. Um, like there's a lot of things here. Dre's wondering when did the night streams happen? Night streams happen when I am at the Senior Bowl, and we're wrapping the day's practice. Running backs, though, I will say for your Indiana people. Kalen Black, really exciting running back. I will say that kid, I mean, burst. You talk about burst and uh, short area agility off the charts. Um, some people wonder if he has the size, but I will say that kid's lower frame is as thick as anybody. Kid's got some tree trunks for legs. Um, and he definitely makes you show up, or makes you like, right. He makes you stop and pay attention is what I'm trying to say. Because he just has like an NFL body, of like when guys stand out for how built they are in this group, that really says something. So Kalen Black, somebody that I would really be interested in as a late uh running back. I think Mike Washington Jr. from Arkansas was also he's a little bit bigger. He's a little bit of that bigger back. Not as bursty, but I think good mix of route runner, pass protector, and ball carrier.
Is there I'm curious, like, okay, at the Senior Bowl, what else right before you have to go and all this, are there people who you're like, all right, these 2 days I've noticed this and this, who either like stepped up and was like, oh my gosh, this I have to say something about this kid. You know what I mean? Does it go that way, or do kids
Um,
fall off?
not
Do
not always because there's so much data you're trying to watch. At any one time, like for example, when they're doing the defensive line, offensive line one-on-one drills, they're doing also running back, linebacker one-on-one drills, and they're doing receivers, tight ends versus corners and safeties. Like those three drills are all happening simultaneously.
Oh, and you can't see
So and
necessarily,
it's one's happening
but
in the
you'll
end
get the
zone, one's
film.
happening in the middle of the field, and one's happening on the other side. So what we've done is the first couple days it was we were walking over to the end zone and watching the big uglies. Like we were really focused on those guys' matchups. And then it was in the second practice because I wanted to watch a few receivers. We went over and we watched the because they would do 2 rounds of one-on-ones, and they do that sometimes so that some of the personnel guys can at least get 2 of the 3 and be there. And so we
Sure.
went to the other one, and watched the receivers and corners and safeties yesterday. And then today we just stayed and watched corners and safeties and tight ends and receivers. We want to watch the skill positions more today because we spent 2 days watching the bigs. So now we're gonna have 2 days watching the skill positions. And so when it comes to those individual drills, we saw more skill positions today than we did the others. And then when it comes to team, you're kind of watching different guys that you've seen. You'll see things, or you'll kind of try and watch the play. And sometimes it's kind of a post of like, okay, who's at the bottom of that pile now? Because somebody made a play there, and I'm going to see who's at the bottom of the pile and what defensive lineman held that thing up. And so you're kind of doing that. Other times you'll see guys just flash in. Other times you're specifically watching individual players because you're wanting to watch how they do. Sometimes I would be watching Jennings Dunker or Jeremiah Wright, who's a tackle from Auburn, who is taking snaps at guard. I noticed that. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. This is another one of those guys who's showing versatility on the offensive line. He may not be a pure tackle. He may be an interior guy. And so that's something to pay attention to and see where guys are taking different snaps. We need a guard coming in. And so looking at some of the interior guys, looking at the center, looking at then the skill positions, how they're matching up, what defenses are being played, that kind of stuff. It's a lot to look at, but it can be a little overwhelming, but you try and get what in there, and that's why I take copious notes.
So it sounds like then you'll have, when you talk about stuff going on at the same time, you'll have footage though.
Yeah, so what
Released.
they're gonna
How's
upload
that?
is that they will upload all the individual drills. So it's gonna be a lot of stuff to kind of clog through, because each practice will be somewhere between 10 and 12 hours of film that they're gonna have off of a 2-hour practice.
Yeah.
Um, because of all of those individual drills. I mean, they even down to the individual D-line drills when they're running around the hoop, or they're, doing the bag drills. They have all of that done. And so sometimes there's 6 different position groups that are all doing individual drills for 10 minutes. Well, that's an hour. A 10-minute portion of practice is going to provide, and actually they usually film it with 2 different cameras. So you may have 2 hours of film on 10-minute portion of practice. And so the practice is 2 hours, and you have 3 days, and you actually have then 2 teams. And so you have 6 practices. So you can have, off of one individual drill, you can end up, that's done 3 times, you can get up to like 12 hours on one drill of stuff to watch. So there's going to be a lot of stuff to work through in the coming weeks as we see this, and it'll be stuff that I'm looking to line up with the different notes here. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I want to shift real quick to some other news that could affect the Niners. Cleveland, you know, Jim Schwartz, a lot of, not just us, a lot of Niner fans, a lot of Niner shows have been talking about it. I think it's our turn. What's your take on Jim Schwartz and Cleveland?
I think as soon as the 49ers are legally able to talk to Jim Schwartz, they need to talk to Jim Schwartz. It was released that they have interviewed Raheem Morris, they've interviewed Gus Bradley, and they interviewed somebody else. Jim Schwartz, obviously, they have not made a hire yet, and I think it would be irresponsible if they didn't at least wait to see what happens here with Schwartz, because everything reporting out of there is that Schwartz does not want to stick around. I mean, he had no interest in being passed over. This is very much like the Vic Fangio situation in 2014. Vic had notoriously interviewed with the 49ers when they fired, or excuse me, 2015, when they fired Jim Harbaugh, and he had no interest in being passed over and his defensive line coach being promoted over him. So, there's that situation has got to get resolved. I don't know what the Browns are going to do. The Browns are a trash organization, and you never know what the Browns can do.
Yeah.
So, but I think they at least need to wait at least a week. I don't think Raheem Morris is going to be walking out the door within the next 4 days. I don't think he's the front runner. I think Gus Bradley's the guy, unless it's Jim Schwartz. Now, the challenge becomes you better have Jim Schwartz for at least 2 years, because if you hire Jim Schwartz, Gus Bradley's not going to want to stick around. He's not getting passed over for Jim
Right.
Schwartz and then sticking around.
Right. 100%. I don't know. But now again, remind me, you're okay. We talked about this. If we just stay and promote within, you're actually just on board with that. If we
I'm
have
not
to.
against it. Like, I'm not 100% on board with it, but I'm
That's
not
not a hard
against it.
sell. It's not a hard sell.
Well, I mean,
sound
look, that's honestly how I feel. I'm not somebody who I'm going to sit here and say, well, because what happened in these previous few seasons is necessarily an indicator, because I guess I look to the 49ers defense this year was not ranked that high, and in a lot of metrics. And I'm not going to sit here and say, well, but that means that Robert Saleh wasn't it, because some people were saying that this year. Well, are we sure
Oh,
we want Saleh back?
in
Saleh
this
doesn't
very
seem like it.
chat. In this
Right.
very
And
chat,
and
sometimes
so,
it happens.
I look at that and I go, okay, I understand there can be extenuating circumstances. Not every year that Spagnuolo was in Kansas City did Kansas City have a top defense. Sometimes they were like 20th. I remember the year in 2019, they were like the 16th or 17th ranked defense. before they got into the playoffs, and then they became like a top 5 defense in almost every metric. It was wild. It was the weirdest turnaround we'd ever seen. So I'm not always sold that, okay, because of the rankings were a certain way. There's a lot of things that go into that. You can have a really bad offense that you have a team with, and you're constantly being put in bad situations, and so the defense is ranked really poorly in a lot of ways. So like I don't know. I more trust, okay, this is somebody that Kyle's had on his staff for 2 years. He didn't hire Brandon Staley last year, right? Like he didn't sit here and say, well, I've had Brandon Staley around, so he didn't fire Nick Sorensen and say, okay, now I'm hiring Brandon Staley. And so, I mean, he had been able to work with him for a little while and saw, okay, there it is. But so like if he's still on board strongly with Gus Bradley and having him in the building, then I'm okay with that.
I don't know how I feel about it quite yet. I want to see in the next week what Browns do, what Raheem Morris. Let me ask you this, because there's some buzz going on, and in the chat, Beta Sheets asks, should the 49ers trade Mac Jones and pursue Kirk Cousins? What do you
No.
think about Cousins getting dumped?
I don't know. I mean, they haven't officially released him. I don't think.
I thought they
I don't.
have.
I mean, maybe I missed it. I've been in Senior Bowl.
Someone hit us up in the chat. Did they officially
Did
release?
they
I saw that they
probably
did
officially?
on Yahoo Sports. I saw that they did.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm looking it up right now. It says that 4 hours ago. He's expected to be released.
Not all the way
And that's according to one source. It's according to The Athletic. I'm not sold that they're going to release him, but I mean, maybe
Kirk Cousins won 4 games in a row.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like, and they don't know what's the status of Penix. I mean, dude's had it on his 3rd ACL tear in a short time. I doubt he's ready by the start of the season. I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
But Mac is gone, right? Right?
I think so. I mean, I think I think a more realistic, because the thing is, okay, if you're the Falcons, I think it would either be a renegotiation. If Kirk Cousins plays, he wants to start. Like that's the deal. I don't think he wants to be another backup.
I don't know if that's the deal. He's old. Like he can't.
He's 30. He's 6 years younger than Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, Aaron Rodgers is in his 40s, dude. It's 6 years.
I'm just saying, like he's 2 years younger than Matthew Stafford. So like he seems like he's a lot older because the play has declined, right? And so it's like, oh, he's just it's shot. I don't think I think the way his viewpoint is that if Stafford can be doing this, he can do this. I mean, that is how Kirk Cousins' mindset. I'm not saying that's everybody else's mindset.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins' mindset is going to be that way. Okay, if I'm him, there's no reason I think I can't play until I'm 38. Sort of situation. So I don't know. I don't think he wants to come be a backup here. Mac Jones, I think to the Vikings makes a ton of sense. Kevin O'Connell needs to save his job because the fact that he let Sam Darnold walk out the door, and Sam Darnold is going to be playing in the Super Bowl, and has JJ McCarthy there, who is throwing away games. Kevin O'Connell's got his seat is firmly hot right now. I don't care what people say. His seat is firmly hot.
Wilson.
So, like I think Mac Jones to the Vikings is the move that Kevin O'Connell has to make to save his job. So, I think that means you need to get some serious assets from the Vikings. I think you should package something from one Justin Jefferson. That's just my opinion. I don't know if they'll actually do it. I will say, Stephen Wayne, we're talking about that at lunch today. In line at the Meat Boss. I wasn't there. I was doing a show with Rob, and they were talking about how the potential of Mac Jones to the Vikings and all this stuff. And unbeknownst to them, until they realize, they put 2 and 2 together tonight, that the guy who was standing behind him in line at the meat boss while they were talking about all this stuff was the GM of the Vikings. So so they may have spoken it into
Only at the
existence
Senior
in
Bowl.
there.
Only
I'm
at the Senior
saying.
Bowl.
So they were like, yeah, we were talking about like all the different scenarios of what you could trade Mac for, what his value would be, why the Vikings should pick or trade for him, and all this stuff. And now that's the situation that would make sense. And would we get Addison or would we get JJ? And he's like, and then I realized, yeah, that was Mwefe, who was standing behind him, who's the GM of the Vikings. So yeah, but I think that makes sense. As far as, they have Curtis Rourke on the team, and they really like Curtis Rourke. They really like him. I think he's really going to be the backup next year. It's going to be more about who's your third guy going to be. And so, maybe Zach Wilson, maybe. I don't know, but we'll see. I don't know if
Trey Lance.
Oh my gosh. Stop.
Totally joking.
He already made it clear he didn't want that role.
I still don't think, I was just talking about this real quick. When I saw the preseason game and Come On I Want to Leia, or whatever his name is, played, and then Trey Lance played, and then they give the second, the QB2 to Trey Lance over that guy when Trey Lance didn't do anything. And the other guy, again, you know who I'm talking about. But I couldn't believe that Jim Harbaugh did that. He was just loving on some Trey Lance, I guess. But anyway, all right. Let's also let's round out the Senior Bowl. Who else do you want to talk about? Who do you want us to get all upset about when we don't draft him?
Jennings Dunker, man, that kid
Still on
has,
him,
has
huh?
just, I'm telling you, he is this year's Gray Zabel. And I'm still irritated about what happened with Gray Zabel, because Gray Zabel was the most can't miss prospect coming out last year.
About to be a Super Bowl champion.
And I mean, he was like, I think he was second team All Pro. Will probably be first team All Pro almost his entire career. And that's what Jennings Dunker feels like. That if you draft him and plug him in at guard, he's going to be an All Pro, and he's going to be a beast. One of those guys that you sit there and are like, oh my gosh. So he's somebody that I'm getting that way about. I will say though that there's a number of offensive linemen that that are really strong. Jeremiah Wright from Auburn, he's a tackle. He played some snaps at guard. Really strong run blocker. I mean, really strong run blocker. I will say we got to see him at the podium, and at one of the podiums. They had 3, and so it was kind of like you get in there, and one guy he was asking questions. He started asking him like, what would your Madden ratings be in Madden 26? Madden 27.
Okay.
And he was like what would your blocking ratings be? And he went run blocking, anything run blocking, 90 and above. 90 and above, anything run blocking. If it's anything like run block power, run block finesse, it's gonna be 90 and above, everything. And he goes, okay, what about speed? And he was like, I ain't gonna lie. Like a 60.
Oh God.
Maybe in the 50s somewhere. And the guy was like, what about throw power? He goes, I'll be honest, I can't throw a ball. It's gonna be like 25. So he's a self-aware kid. He's a self-aware kid, but I will say he looked real sharp. And he had some really good one-on-one reps. I like the kid. I think he'd be a good kid to bring in as competition, swing tackle, interior offensive lineman. Another kid, Max. I have a hard time saying the last name. It's Ihenichor. Ihianachor. It's a weird name. From Arizona State, a tackle. Incredible movement skills. That he's got one of those. It's one of those that, like, you see those things that the 49ers really love, and they really love guys who can get out and move. He's one of those kids. He's only been playing football for 4 years. So, and he's at the Senior Bowl. Like, he literally started playing football at college, and so he he's has some things to flesh out, but man, his feet are phenomenal. Hips are really fluid. Um, Screen passes, wide toss plays. He was getting out in space, moving and hitting some people. So he was a really strong somebody that I think would be a good later round developmental pick that has serious upside. Serious upside. Um, Bo Stevens from Iowa. He's the guard next to uh, Jennings Dunker. Strong guard. Strong. I think could be there in the third round and would be a really good value pick. Somebody that would really work out. Let's see some other offensive linemen. James Brockmeyer from Miami, I think, showed a number of good reps.
Okay.
Logan Taylor from Boston College. he was he had a really nice couple days, especially team drills. Really in the team drills. That's where he really started to show out as an interior offensive lineman. Nasty run blocker, finishes, good movement in space. And then let's see, Sam Height from Kansas State center. Really like that kid. Not quite as high on him as I am with Jake Slaughter, but Sam Height, he's really fast. He was the fastest offensive line, I think second fastest offensive lineman here as far as mile per hour registered on his GPS. Cage Casey from Boise State, interior offensive lineman, another kid really like. Carver Willis from Washington. He's got strong hand skills, really good with the hand fighting, really good hand skills. Keelan Rutledge, another guy from Georgia Tech. I think all these guys. Yeah, it's Scarata's got it. The pronunciation in here. Ihe Nachor.
I'm not.
Ihe Nachor.
Okay.
You can see why with the spelling why I had a hard time. Ihe Nachor. That kid's really fascinating. Just I think the best mover as far as like ability movement skills, not just like ability to move people, but has the best movement skills out of this class. So I will give you a second to plug the channel again real quick, Adam. I'm gonna go get some water real quick.
Yeah, you've had a long day. Thank you for hanging out at the Senior Bowl again, guys. The big thing about this channel is that Johnny has videos, mostly in season, yes, but make sure that you take your phone and show people who are wearing Niners gear and show them the channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell. The week of all weeks was this week to make sure you hit the notification bell. As Dre even called it, night shows. What is up with this? That is reason number 972 why you need to hit the notification bell, because of weeks like this. Because you never know when on the eve of my birthday that we are just going to have a show. You never know for sure. So thank you for hanging out with us. Thanks, Johnny, for being there. Um, Last highlight of today. I mean, what do you got?
So we can talk about D line for a little bit. There's this class I think is really strong in speed rushing defensive ends, which happens to be. I think that's some place that the 49ers can address in the draft, and that as they continue this roster reset, that I do think I wonder if they're going to bring somebody in to either push Bryce Huff or maybe even replace Bryce Huff. The thing about Bryce Huff is he's a one-trick pony. That his one trick is phenomenal, but if you ask him to do anything other than that one trick, it's not so great. If you ask him to hold up against a run on base downs, it's not great. So I think they need to look at if we're gonna have a speed rusher, we need to have somebody who can actually add something else in here, some run defense abilities, more than that. And so there's a number of really good speed rushers out of this class. Now, the guy that I would really love to see is TJ Parker from Clemson, but I don't think they're going to spend their first on another defensive end, and he's not making it out of the first round. He may not even be there at 27 anyways. He showed up, and I will say credit to this kid. He like last year, we saw a number of guys, they'd show up day 1, day 2, dominate, and then they were like, all right, I'm out. Day 3, I ain't risking getting hurt. I came here, I showed what I needed to show, and I'm a first-round pick now, and so I'm out. He didn't. He showed up today, gave another good, strong performance, and he may not play in the game. I wouldn't blame him, but that he's a lot. There was very few people who weren't practicing day 3. I think it was just a couple of kids who were hurt. That was it. This has been a really strong finish of the week. So he's somebody that I would love to get. I just don't think we're going to actually draft him at that level. I will say Vincent Anthony from Duke is just again showed out, and he had 3 strong days here. So he's I'm not quite as high on him from just the pure edge potential you see in him that I was on Femi last year. He's a lot slighter of frame. Femi was just so powerful and was so twitchy. This kid is twitchy and fast. He's long. He's got long arms, but he's more slight of frame. He's definitely more of a just a speed rusher. Vincent Anthony from Duke. But I think that's somebody that they should definitely have an eye on as you get down into this the meat of this draft class. I think Kion Sloan from NC State is an interesting prospect. I have to dive into him a little bit more. Had some flashes, was some up and down, but showed some stuff. Nadame Tucker from Western Michigan he's kind of like trying to remember who the kid was last year that I was so high on it. I think it was out of Arkansas or Arkansas State that I was really high on last year. But he's kind of giving you those kind of vibes where you go, okay, this kid could really, there's something there that you want to see him more. And so he's got some real nice potential. Gabe Yakus from Illinois is another kid. Him and Nadame Tucker look very similar. Their builds, and they both wore 52. So it was like 52 from one team, 52 from the other practice, and they looked very, very similar. Really, really similar builds, really similar skill sets. Both speed guys could really move upfield and get around the hump pretty quick and pressure, but could also hold up against on the edge in the run game. So that's there. A kid from Florida, Tyreek Sapp, is somebody I think that would be an interesting look. He's got a really strong dip and rip move. So somebody's asked about Romello height. I had him. Romello, I made a note about him. I know I've also had some people asking about height and weight. I know you're not talking about that, but height and weight for different guys and arm length and stuff. They normally give us the measurements on those guys, and they didn't this year. So I don't know why they did that. But though that case, Romello. Okay, so you're asking for what is Romello's height? We're talking about Romello Brinson from Southern Methodist. They didn't give us the height weight measurements this year, so I don't know what those are. I don't know why they didn't do that. Normally, it's on the printout. It would be on the side exactly, like down to the 10th of an inch, what their height are, but they didn't have that this year. So we're gonna have to wait for the combine, unfortunately. Let's see,
my neck of the woods.
Oh no, Romello height. Here he is, Texas Tech. I didn't have a lot of positives about Romello height. That's why I didn't recognize the name. I wrote that he had good backside pursuit on a play, and I remember the play. I think it was day 2. It was a wide zone to the right, and he ran it down really well. But other than that, he didn't flash a lot for me. Again, I'll go look at some things. I think a kid that's interesting is Max Lewin from Iowa. He's going to be one of those all-arounders. Like he didn't show up, and it wasn't like he was really, really good at anything, but he wasn't bad at anything. And so he just looks like a solid, like he's going to be a solid, good football player. Like he's not going to give you that super high production. He's also going to give you a really high floor. And so he's an interesting prospect. I think he would make sense as like a 4th round pick. It was kind of where it's seeing. and see what the upside is. Him and Jennings Dunker had some awesome battles. Because I mean they're both teammates at Iowa, so that was really fun. Then there's some interior defensive line guys that I mean just were awesome to watch. Bryson Eason from Tennessee he's a one gap guy with a lot of burst who can really just throw a loop in everybody's blocking schemes. Let's see, Lee Hunter from Texas Tech, big old like 330 plus pound defensive tackle, or nose tackle. Really, he was awesome. Just whooping everybody. I mean, just that guy was fun to watch.
Like Sweat from last year.
Yeah, or 2 years ago. Yeah, it was kind of like Tavondre Sweat.
Wow, 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was 2 years
Wait,
ago.
he's with the Titans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Time flies, man.
Sheesh.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Sheesh.
Yeah, I mean, just there's a few other guys in here. I know I'm missing somebody. The Michigan kid. Everybody, that he was really showing out. I mean, just there's a lot of good defensive line players in here, and we'll talk about more of them as they go. I just hate sitting here flipping through my pages. Cameron Ball from Arkansas really stood out. Really stood out. Yeah, he was really strong. Rayshon Benny from Michigan had some good reps in there. It's going to be like what we've seen in different years, that there's a lot of guys who show a lot of promise.
I feel like seniors from the Big Ten and the SEC, man, the feeling is that they just have an edge, because if you've played 4 years for Michigan, you've been in some battles.
Yeah.
If you've played in a senior for Auburn, you've been in some battles. It's just the way it is,
Yeah. So I mean, there really is, and I think, again, just to underscore everything, what I've really learned over the last 3 years with the Senior Bowl is there's going to be a lot of really good players who are drafted in the third round. There's a lot of really good players drafted in the third round. And so, we make so much hype of that first round, that second round pick. Really, to me, you make your money as a franchise in that third, fourth, and fifth rounds. Really, you do. And that's why the 49ers were a 12-win team this year, because they have guys that have been from those third and fourth and fifth rounds that have been impact players, that have been strong role players. They're not always those guys who are going to go get 12 sacks in a year, but they're guys who can make a lot of plays. I mean, I think of CJ West. CJ West was one of our strongest defensive tackles throughout the end of the year, and he was a fourth or fifth round pick last year, right? Like, so, I mean, he was a late round pick. You have Marquis Siegel was playing significant snaps there during the beginning of the year, and then at the end of the year played really well against the Eagles. And he was a fifth round pick kid. You have Upton Stout, who was playing as our slot guy all year long, and had some massive plays in different times. And even with that, was still, if he's just a massive liability, like teams would have just been going after him over and over and over again. And he was targeted a lot, but he wasn't targeted so much that everybody just picked on him because they could pick on him. And I think he was one of the strongest rookies we had there. He was a third round pick, so like you have that. I will say, some people have been asked about receivers. We haven't talked about receivers. I just realized that was the one position I'm like, oh yeah.
Backs.
Yeah. So we'll go through receivers real quick. Malachi Fields. I think it's him and it's Jacoby Lane that are the two guys that I'm looking at. Okay, if you're gonna draft a receiver real early, these are the guys. Malachi Fields, I will say, had a really strong day yesterday. Did not have a real strong day today. He made the great catch. He made one of the best catches you're gonna see yesterday, and he had like 3 big easy drops today. So and just it looked like he wasn't in time with the quarterbacks. It was not as strong of a day today for Malachi Fields. I do like what he brings. He's got a great frame. He's 6'3", like 225. Those are off of his last college measurements. Those aren't what they gave us here because we didn't get any. I will say he's got the build to play receiver, and he's smooth in and out of his cuts, explosive. He can be a downfield receiver. That's what we need. We need a receiver who can play downfield. So Malachi Fields, to me, did not have as good of a day today. Jacoby Lane, though, had another really strong day. Just another really strong day. I mean, high pointing balls, catching everything that came his way. It's just showing that huge catch radius. He's true 6'4". His arm lengths is just insane. Just massive catch radius. I love this kid. He can win deep. He had one. I will say the only play that it was almost, I don't know, kind of a negative, I guess. But they don't get a lot of opportunities for press man in team, and it was. And he cooked that corner off the line. He had at least 5 yards of separation running down the left sideline. The quarterback threw it out there, underthrew the ball by a big margin, and he kind of got tied up, and he reached out there and tried to one-hand it. And it's one of those of like, I think you could have got your second hand up there, though he may have been getting grabbed. I couldn't see really well. It happened so quick. And we're on the other side of the field. But he shows the ability. He can win downfield, and he has more than enough game speed to win downfield. When he was at UCLA, USC, when teams would jump off sides, they were bombing the ball down to him. He was the guy that it was like, go, and we're going to throw the ball up for you, because he's 6'4", has a good vertical, you can tell, and has that huge catch rate, his long arm. So I'm again, just another day really high on Jacoby Lane. I think he's going to be one of the top 10 receivers picked in this draft. I think he is a top 10 receiver in this draft. So he's somebody that definitely will have our eyes on going forward. I got to move over to the national team because that's where I had written more about receivers. Colin Lacey from Louisville, the way he plays. I said plays with an attitude. He's smooth. He's a good route runner. So that's somebody that's interesting. He's out of Louisville. Colin Lacey.
Hey, Don.
Hey, my wifey's in the chat. Harrison Wallace or Caleb Douglas from Texas Tech. Number of good reps from him. Really good high pointer of the ball, meaning he's going to climb the ladder and go get it. He doesn't wait for the ball to come to him. Kid is really interesting. Really interesting. He's a small school kid. I mean, we're talking small school. John Carroll, small school. Okay, that's the name of the college. Tyron Montgomery. Really pulling for this kid. Explosive, fast, really good route runner. He's from a small school. I will say, talk to one guy. I'm blanking on his name right now. He works for one of the big national networks. We talked to him for a minute. He said he's talked to the kid for like 20 minutes at the hotel. It was like, he's just an absolutely phenomenal kid. You couldn't like him more. He did have a couple big time drops. He was wide open. But that's going to be an interesting one. He's going to be a later round pick because he's from a small school. But Tyron Montgomery, interesting kid to look for and remember. Reggie Virgil from Texas Tech. He's been very he's been very silky smooth, explosive out there. Love to see him. So another kid, really quick feet. I think he's going to be a slot receiver. Is Josh Cameron from Baylor. Shorter guy, could be a big yak guy. Somebody that you want to get the ball in his hands and then see what he can do from there. Let's see. Anybody else from receiver there? Barryon Brown from Louisiana State. He's a slot receiver, is the type that I wrote down for him. Feisty. He gets in there, scraps with the corners, likes to block, does a good job at it. Ted Hurst, he had a couple really good days there from Georgia State, but he got hurt and he did not practice today. So he was on the sideline today. I know that's somebody that a lot of people will be looking forward. Kevin Coleman Jr. from Missouri had some strong reps down here. So I think that kind of wraps. I mean, there's a number of good receivers. Filthy Casual asking if there's any receivers like divas to avoid. I haven't seen that. I mean, I haven't picked that up from anything, especially the interviews. Of course, I mean, you only get somebody for a few minutes. It's hard to tell. I will say, Jacoby Lane, he seemed like a real sweet kid. Just real humble, real just kind of, you know, golly gee, I'm here, and it's kind of wild to have people want to talk to me, sort of a guy.
So, who was your favorite as a recap of all the days? Who was your favorite interaction that you had?
Probably Jake Slaughter. I mean, dude sounds like a long haul trucker. He's from the South. You can tell. He's like, in the end, you just gotta go play ball.
That's what you want to hear, right? Like, yeah, man, you do. You do have
I
to
mean,
just
he
go
he
play
he looks
ball.
like he's 35. He looks like he's been driving a truck for 20 years
Packing
already.
Marlboros
Started out driving on his grandpa's farm.
at 10. Yeah.
He screams like lunch pail blue collar kid, but also smart. Because then we saw him on media day, and he was there like dressed up, put together a little bit more. Was wearing his glasses, like oh, he looked like he was coming
He
out
looked
of
smart.
like a a physics class or something, and I was like, "Oh, okay." But I mean, you can tell he's a smart kid. He's you can tell, just really smart, humble. When I asked him about how they handled the games Georgia was throwing at him, he didn't say, "Well, it's just because I'm so great." He credited his coaching staff. He named him, and he talked about how they given him cut ups. You like that. You like that from a kid. That can take the coaching like that and isn't sitting there like I've got to puff myself up for some random short guy from who's asking me questions holding a cell phone like a dingus.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Glad you're able to chop it up with other Niner content creators. Glad you got to go to the Red Lobster of Alabama. It sounds
Yeah.
like. Remember?
Yeah, of the Southeast. I will say big shout out to Houston Stressens, Garrett Williams. He's a Texas content creator. We did a collab. We're gonna do another one here. We had a lot of fun hanging out with Garrett for a couple days. We were riding around together. We went out to eat together. Hung out at the bowl. He's super outgoing. Like I'm a little bit more laid back. Like I'm not gonna just like walk up and say and start conversation with everybody. I know that seems shocking to some people.
Oh,
Um,
I would.
yeah, but Garrett is like Garrett he was just like straight up walk up to everybody. He saw Jeremy Fowler and he was just like, "Hey, I'm gonna go say hi to Jeremy." And he walks up, he's like, "Hi, I'm Garrett," and he's just talking to him. He did the same thing with Sam Acho. We were there yesterday in practice, and Sam Acho
That's
came and sat next to us
that's
and started
awesome.
talking about how he loves that tight end from Stanford, Sam Rush. And Garrett got up and he walks over, "Hey Sam, just want to let you know I'm a big fan of your show. Love all this stuff." Like he just dives right into it. So big shout out Garrett. Garrett was a lot of fun to hang out with. Good guy, real good guy. So we're definitely gonna collab here.
Sounds like I'd get along with them. When I tell you guys about taking your phone and going up to people with Niners gear, I literally do that all the time. I truly do that. That's just when I'm in Indiana, and if I see someone wearing Niners gear, I absolutely will flag them down and say, "Hey, where are you from? Like, how long have you been a fan?" And then I break my phone out and show them the channel. Um, shout out to the doctor is in Rick James Franco. Can we get a Niners content creator shouting report? I.e., Johnny plays with anticipation. Adam fires out of his stance and has sand in his pants.
Yeah. I haven't had well, the other question, I haven't had any cold medicine tonight. No, I've been dealing with a sinus infection for like 2 weeks. I was on antibiotics before I came down here because I had an ear infection and a sinus infection, and it didn't clear up the sinus infection. So I've just been pushing through it here while I've been down out of town and in Mobile. I'm gonna try and get some more meds when I get back. It's just yeah, I'm all stuffed up. And it's been the struggle, y'all. So I do appreciate the support. Everybody at JFA49.com. Thank you so much for your support. It funds this trip, to make this happen, and why we push through it, and being away from my beautiful wifey for 3 days and my beautiful 3 kids. I love the Senior Bowl. I love my kids more. I love my family more, but we're here because of your support and to get this done. But a shouting report, I would say Johnny is the one that gives the most detailed answer nobody asked for. And that really became clear through these 3 days here. Like Wayne would ask a question about something, and like we were talking about Bill Belichick, and then next thing I knew, I was drawing, and I still have the drawings on here of I was drawing out how Nick Saban and Bill Belichick changed matching defenses. And so you can see my little X's and O's down here. I was drawing things out, showing Wayne all the stuff of how and where it came from in their games against the Steelers back in the 90s. So that's definitely me. Adam, if let's see, fire out of his stance. I would say, let's see, I will give my scouting report on you, and then I'll let you self scout. And you can give your scouting report on me. I would say Adam is he plays with a lot of intentionality. He's not going to always play with his hair on fire because he doesn't have any, but he's going to have some intentionality on it. So what he says, there's an intention behind it, and he thinks through what he says usually.
So what's tough with me is I have been a podcast coach and creator for a few years. I've jumped into, a lot of owning a party bus and limo and trolley business that has really taken off, to be honest, to where I don't do it as much. And now any podcast that I'm involved in is strictly out of love of the game, as they say now. So like
love the game.
This podcast, of course, and this one as well, which, by the way, real quick, Johnny will be on tomorrow morning. Sports Idiot Nation. So make sure before he leaves, he's gonna hang out with me for Sports Idiot Nation. I will say what I have tried to do is to be calculated. Now, it doesn't always go that way because sometimes my brain just gets jumbled. I really put the idiot in Sports Idiot Nation, and I love it. I love that I can just be myself. I have been myself for 280 episodes with Johnny, and you guys haven't kicked me off this show yet. So I love to be thoughtful of how things are going to go. I'm anticipating what's going to happen and then where I can take the next question. I do like to be thoughtful, but sometimes it doesn't always go that way. So that's what I would say. That's an interesting super chat, though, I got to say.
That's an interesting super chat. That's one I wasn't expecting. So kudos to you for giving us the curveball.
The doctor is real in out of Cincinnati.
Yeah. What would be your shouting report on me?
Keep in mind, it is scouting. You're saying, are you asking me or Dr.
Yeah, I know. He's saying, I just love poking it of the
shouting,
because I'm one of the worst at typos when I text. Like, for real, it's so bad. I have wide thumbs, and it gets so bad.
So, but are you asking me what I think?
What is your scouting report on me?
Oh, I would say you have the ability to outsmart yourself because you know so much, but then by the time you get it out there, it's a 7 page Word document, and now you missed an entire whatever segment or assignment because you went too long with your 7-page paper. Like, wait, we didn't even talk defense. Oh, sorry, we're out of time. Well, we only talked offense.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I will info dump. I totally know about that one.
We love it. We love it. And that's why I like being a part of this, because I'd like to think that sometimes I can help navigate so that you don't go an hour and 47 minutes on Colton McKivitz because we have other stuff to get to.
I will say I
But
poked the bear on Colton McKivitz earlier tonight, and people misunderstood what I was saying because I said, people are saying we need to draft a tackle to play left tackle. I think Trent's going to play for a long time. I think he really is. I think he's going to play for a number of more years. I don't think he's done after this next year. And so
that would
I
be
think
amazing.
like Colton McKivitz is going to be somebody that they're going to have to either pay or move on from before they have to make a decision on Trent.
They're not
Like,
moving
because I,
on.
I I think
They
I
like
think
him too
Trent.
much.
No, they like him at their price point, but he's going to price out. And so I think they're going to be in a place where they have to try and replace Colton McKivitz because he's priced out versus when Trent's just not able to do it anymore. If this season was any indicator, Trent's still got like 2 to 3 years left.
Hey, here's a quick question, random. How do you think Mike McGlinchey has done? I know we're not Broncos fans, but we know football enough. You know football enough. I think
He's
he's
been
done
Mike
pretty
McGlinchey.
well. I
Well, I mean,
think
he's
he's
been
done
Mike
pretty
McGlinchey.
well.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that Mike McGlinchey was on the butt end of a lot of bad reps because when he would put a bad rep on film, it was bad. And so, I mean, when you get put horizontal by Micah Parsons, that's rough to live down. But
I was
Col-
inverted.
but McGlinchey, but McGlinchey was, yeah, I know Colton was already extended. I don't think he's going to play out that contract. I don't. Um, he's not. I just don't see it happening. That McGlinchey, I think, has been the player he's been, which is a pretty good tackle, a mid tackle. He just got more expensive than what they wanted to pay a mid-level tackle. Because remember, his contract was one of the top left tackle or right tackle contracts at the time. So that's what it was. Like he's, I mean, like that's how I feel. Like I just feel like McGlinchey's been McGlinchey, which is he's a mid right tackle, which is better than half,
Better than
worse than
15
half.
others. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I thought he's done okay. He was overpaid, but he's been healthy. He's played well at times. Like, okay, good for him. I was just curious because watching him play, in the AFC Championship game. Um, so all right. So what's your schedule now? You got the show with me tomorrow. You're skipping town then to get
Yeah,
back
yeah. So
to
we won't have a
the
normal
fam.
Friday stream because I'm going to be driving through the rural land of Mississippi on the way back home um, in the kind of late morning afternoon time as I wake up and get some copious amounts of coffee and try and get some rest from this whole thing. And then most likely we'll be back to normal on Monday. Hopefully, I will have started to get some of the Senior Bowl film in. Last year they posted it on the 31st. I will say they uploaded the folder. They created the folder for it. But
Yeah,
there's nothing in the folder right now.
we have a
So
folder,
once
people. It is report.
yes. Yes, so there
You've
is
heard
a
it
folder. And so
first.
once that happens, we'll be able to start going through these prospects and show their clips.
Yeah.
As I'll be pulling them and you'll see a lot of their Senior Bowl stuff. I still haven't gotten my college film yet from this year. I've been working through the backlog of 2024 of these prospects. So like a lot of these guys, I'm looking at their junior year play. So we'll have some of that. It's just going to be a long haul to build all of this stuff throughout this draft process. So be patient with that. Here at the end of over February, it's going to be a little bit slower to get that stuff as I'm trying to work through the huge backlog of film and stuff to look on, guys. But then once we
So,
get into March, it's gonna be go time. It's gonna be go time on the draft.
yep, love it.
And
All
we'll
right.
have free agency that it will hit in March too. So
Oh, and yeah, we'll have other breaking news that we'll have to go over and get your opinion on and things like that. So remember, guys, hit the notification bell. We don't always go at the same exact times every single time we go. Uh, this has been episode 281. Thankful and grateful for all these shows. We will check in probably if life goes normal on Monday. We'll be back to kind of regular schedule. So in the meantime, in between time, tomorrow, hang out on Sports Idiot Nation, me and Johnny, and then stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, Go Niners.